Very excited about the show tonight. Religion and the voice to the voiceless. Spirituality. Some of that's going to play into the program tonight. If you are famous, as many people are in interview shows, as many people are who sit in this red chair, your fame is sort of useless if you don't do anything with it. And I love it when artists decide that they need to do more, and a lot of it will be in the program tonight. I want to start with Maria Bello. Graduated from college, thinking she was going to go into law, even though she followed another dream, which was acting. And she's really good at it. If you haven't seen The Cooler, you need to, or History of Violence. But Maria, her impact has gone past being a quality actress. It's her work in Haiti, helping underprivileged, that has touched lives way beyond the big screen, and her work in women's rights. It's all part of her story. Here it is. You know, if we were going to judge a book by its cover, most would think that Maria Bello was born to be in front of the camera. But here's the thing. Aside from the talent, she's also very smart. And if you ask her, she'll tell you. She was born to help people. A Philly girl, always imagined herself changing the world, but it was an acting class in college that challenged her convictions. So Maria moved to New York with $300 in her pocket and 2 trash bags full of clothes. Eventually, she was noticed for her starring role in the short-lived TV series, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Since then, she's had both mainstream success and indie cred, from playing the compassionate Dr. Anna Delamico on ER to her critically praised role in David Cronenberg's A History of Violence. But Maria has never given up doing what she knew she was born to do. She's co-founded numerous organizations focusing on international women's rights, Haitian earthquake relief, and inner-city youth. It seems that Maria has found a way to straddle the line between the successful actor and the caretaker to the world. Everybody, please say hello to Maria Bello!
Lovely to see you again.
How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here.
It'll be fun. Plenty to talk about. I just wonder for your own mind, when you know you've got 2 movies that are so different to talk about. And we won't just talk about movies, but you have a Paul Haggis movie, which is beautiful but not fun.
It's quite intense.
Yes, and you have grown-ups too.
Yes. The great similarity between them is they were both so much fun to shoot. Can you imagine being on Marblehead all summer above Boston?
Right.
On the beach with Chris Rock, David Spade,
right.
Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Selma Hayek, Maya Rudolph. I mean, we just don't stop laughing. It's like summer camp.
But do you feel like, do you have that inner competitiveness where you're like, oh my God, the level of jokes in that room are so heavy, you have to bring them?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do have to bring them. And the girls, we always have to like fight to bring them because the guys are such a team and they've been together for so long. But it's a joy. It's a fun movie. I love the first one. It had such heart. And then the Paul one, we shot in Rome. So as intense as it was, we were in Rome,
right, yeah.
Eating and drinking great wine every night. So.
But can you leave those intense moments on the set?
I can.
You can?
I've never been that actor.
Yeah.
I've never been that actor that sort of holds on to something or has to like live in my part and blah, blah, blah. I'm just kind of, I like to be in the moment. Right. I like to actually talk to someone, you know, and listen. You know, I feel like acting's all about listening, so.
I suppose because you didn't, like, being an actor wasn't your thing.
No.
When you were young, right?
It wasn't. I didn't even know I could be an actor. I really didn't. My dad, you know, was a construction worker. My mom was a nurse from outside of Philly, yeah. And as much as I love novels, and I always pretended I was a character in a novel, it wasn't until I was at university studying women's rights and peace and justice education, yeah. On my way to law school, that someone said I could take an acting class as an elective. And I had a crush on a boy called Drew, who was in that
right,
class.
Right.
So I said, oh, okay, I'll take it. And I knew from the first monologue I did that this was my way of being of service, that this is what I was supposed to do.
Because in that moment, you became self-aware of the fact that you could get your humanity or your message or whatever it is out?
I did, but I was terrified. I went to my mentor, who was an Augustinian priest, Father Ray Jackson. The reason I met him, I did one of his classes, Peace and Justice Education. He wrote a book that I edited for a whole summer. But the first paper was on who are your heroes. And I wrote Gandhi and Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa, whatever I wrote. So when I decided to be an actor instead, I went to him really and cried and said, I don't know what to do. I know I'm supposed to be of service. You know, I was working at the Women's Law Project. I was on that trajectory. And now I feel like I'm supposed to act, and I feel like it's such a selfish profession. And he gave me the greatest advice of my life. He said, you serve best by doing the thing you love most.
Right. Can I play you something? A little time
Yes,
traveling?
please.
Let's time travel for a second. Play this clip here.
Neither of us is leaving here until you tell me exactly what world I've stumbled into.
I can go around you, or I can go through you.
You're clever, I'll give you that.
Oh, where did you find that?
Listen, I have my entire personal collection of Maria Bello stuff. It's
Oh, that was the first TV show I ever did called Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Right.
With Scott Bakula. It was so much fun. I can't believe you have that.
When you got the call that said you got that job, what's the first call you made?
My mother. My mother saying, do you know, literally the first day I came to LA, I got a job. I struggled in New York for 8 years, you know, doing theater. I was a bartender. I was homeless at some point. I mean, I was really beating the streets. And when I came out here to visit a guy I was dating at the time, I went to an audition with him, and he came out and he said, oh, the casting director's from Philly. And I went in and talking, and she said, can you read this? And I said, sure. And I read it, and she gave me this role in a pilot. I couldn't believe it. And I've been so fortunate that I've worked ever since.
I mean, tell me about the homeless experience, like those moments when you were really, I mean, that's a really tenuous place to be in one's life.
Do you know, but even then at the time, I was moving from couch to couch to couch all over New York City. My family was so supportive. My mom would literally take the train up to bring me medicine when I was sick and bring me meatballs. She still talks about it. It's
in
funny.
many cultures, meatballs is medicine, so you got a double dose.
But I was about to give up once,
Yeah?
I have to tell you. My mom always taught us to believe in signs, right? That the universe, that God would lead you on your journey where you're supposed to go. So in the same day when I was 23 years old, 22, I'd just gone to New York City. I'd gone to an audition. My agent fired me, and my manager called me to say, when you went to this audition, they said, never send her to us again. She needs to go to acting school. I was devastated. It's the first time I thought about giving up, going, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. I suck. And I'm going down 23rd Street in my army boots, crying, and it's snowing, and all of a sudden I see something glinting in the snow. And I stop, and it's a shoe, like a golden, high heel, glittery shoe. And in the middle of the street, I look at it and I go, oh my God. I take off my boot, I sit down, I put it on, and it fit. And I was like, thank you, God. Thank you.
What are you gonna do with one shoe?
Well, okay, it gets better. Years later, about 3 or 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I'm looking at my shoe and I thought, I've been blessed. I've gotten everything I ever wanted, you know, in this career that I thought the shoe represented. And my mom always said, what you give away comes back to you tenfold. I took it to New York City. Outside of my hotel at the Bowery, I decided to do this. I put a piece of cardboard with the shoe stuck on it. Whoever took that shoe, I'd love to hear if they took that shoe. And it said, size 9, please stop if you are, try this on, and read the below. And I wrote a little note. I didn't say who it was, but I wrote a note how I promise if you find this shoe, that it's a sign that your life's gonna become. A month later, I'm on the beach in Santa Monica, and my son comes up to me, Mom, I found your shoe. It was a gold ballet slipper. A month later, I'm walking out of the Hollywood Bowl with my boyfriend at the time. We're walking. I look down, and there's a gold spray-painted UGG in front of me. I went, what? I picked that up. I walked 2 steps further. There was a gold spray-painted sneaker. It was apparently this leading you to an art exhibit.
Right.
So 5 shoes.
So you're open to things. You're open to experiencing life in a magical way then.
I am. I want to believe that life is magical. I think it's a choice.
All right, stick around. More with Maria Bello right after this.
Maria Bello on why women in Haiti must have the power in order for things to change there. Right after this.
All right, you're back here. I hope you're enjoying your evening wherever you may be. Maria Bello is with us. You want to be an international women's rights lawyer, is that?
That's right.
And how old were you when you made that call?
I was 19 when I started working at the Women's Law Project. So it's interesting now having my own NGO, and that's what we do. So working in Haiti, I started my own organization after the earthquake because such a tiny percentage of money was going for women's organizations. And I find in developing countries like this, especially a beautiful nation like Haiti, the women really know what their communities need. The women in the camp were so organized. They came up to us. They all had these green T-shirts on, these young women, and they showed us these notebooks, and they said, these are all the women in the camp, and this is what they need. Can you help us do something? So within a day, we put up a tent. Within 3 days, we had doctors and nurses there and lines outside the door. Within 2 weeks, the women were running the clinic. And when I went to these organizations, one that made $432 million from the earthquake, and when I said, hey, you could start these in all the camps. It only costs $5,000. They all said the same thing. Well, you need a proposal, and you guys are quite young. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say the F word, but really, really got angry. And we like to say that we started We Advance because we were pissed off about that.
And how do you get these enormous organizations to be more maneuverable on the ground?
I find big aid, most big aid, just full of bureaucracy. I heard someone speak from the UN, who's a fantastic person. This was in September. And they were talking about what they learned after the Haiti earthquake. And the number one thing they learned is that they can't go in and tell people what they need. The people know what the people need. And I was like, you just figured that out?
There is somebody who I think ran for mayor. Look at this video here.
Please, join us. Together, we will learn, connect, and explore our true potential as empowered women.
Talk about Barbara.
Barbara Guillaume, my partner in We Advance and my inspiration.
Look, there's a photo. I love that photo. She's clearly your transportation as well. In that.
That's our clinic. I met Barbara, who is an artist and an activist and a singer, singing about social justice. And she did run for mayor of Cité Soleil and years ago, and there was so much corruption on that day that she got arrested.
Would you characterize yourself as tough? Are you tough?
Yeah, I think in some ways I'm very tough. People ask all the time in Haiti and during the war, Kosovo and Africa, the things I've seen, and you've been to the morgue in Haiti and been with the children, isn't it so hard? Don't you have, post-traumatic stress? I don't. One of my best characteristics and worst is that I'm really tough.
Right. What a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So lovely to be with you and speak to you.
Maria Bello, everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you.